Welcome to another Q&A. This Q&A came from Melbourne, Australia. And the question is, we have a customer he's a customer, but he has somebody else's pure water system. It's an ionics system, and it has a water softener in it. And so we're talking together about whether you need a water softener in a reverse osmosis system. And so I think that's a really good education and a good talking point, because the answer really depends on the water quality. So step one is you're going to go to Google and you're going to Google water quality report and then put in your town, right? And then you'll find your local government water department report. And what we're looking for is the total dissolved solids, and we're looking for the hardness, right? Which is the presence of calcium and magnesium, let's say, right? And then we want to compare the ratio. So you'll see total dissolved solids will be in ppm, parts per million, and usually hardness, if you're in America, it might be in grains per gallon, but you can go to a convert table and work out how to convert grains per gallon into ppm. But for milligrams per liter, the number is the same. So if you've got 60 milligrams per liter hardness, it's the same as 60 parts per million. So then you're going to divide the hardness by the TDS and work out what percentage of your water is calcium magnesium, like hardness, right? So what is a water softener? A water softener is a resin tank, like a DI tank. It is a DI tank, basically, but it has a flush operation, or a back flush operation. And it's filled with a cation resin, right? So just one polarity, it's not a mixed bed resin. And the cation resin has a particular charge on it, such that when hard water goes through it, the resin attracts the calcium. If I just say calcium for now, it'll attract the calcium molecule out of the CaCO3 or whatever's in the water, and it'll attract that to the cation resin beads, and in return it'll release a sodium molecule. So a water softener does not change the TDS of the water. It just changes the molecular compound mixture that's in the water. So instead of having a calcium-based TDS, you're going to have a sodium-based TDS, right? So you know you have hard water if you wash your hands with real soap and it creates like a soap scum, or you boil your jug and there's white, on the bottom in the element. That's a lime scale, and that happens in coffee machines, in your iron. If you go shot of steam and all this white powder shoots out, then that's all calcium and scale, right? And so what a water softener does is it takes the calcium out of the water and puts sodium into the water, and you remove the risk of scale. So why would you do that with a reverse osmosis system for window cleaning? Well, you would do that in an area where you have high water hardness. Now, high water hardness can be as high as 80%. No, I've seen, because I look this up for people, and if you want me to look it up, then contact me on the live chat or in the comments below, and then I'll look it up for you. But I've seen 80, 85% of the TDS is hardness. And so when would that happen? Well, if you think about the UK, we've all heard of the White Cliffs of Dover, right? The bright white. So all that land, all the rock, all the water that's soaking into the rock and then going into aquifers, any aquifer with underground water traveling, like rivers traveling through porous, because that's very porous rock. So it goes through a porous rock, and then somebody can drop a well or something like that, and then they can pull that water up, and that water is chock-a-block with calcium, with lime, with chalk, right? So do I need a water softener if I don't have a lot of calcium? The answer is no. Reverse osmosis is well known as a very effective way to remove water hardness from water. The problem with it in these big commercial systems, right, is that calcium can scale, right, and start to reduce the effectiveness of the membrane. So, but it doesn't. You don't have a membrane that can take sodium out but can't take calcium out, right? So you would never see a change in the flow rate of a reverse osmosis membrane because you used a water softener or you didn't use a water softener. So the real reason you're doing it is to try and preserve and lengthen the life of the RO. Now, when you look at what some companies sell RO membranes for, they sell them, what we sell for $269, $289, something like that, they will sell for $600. So at $600 to replace your membranes, you might go, oh my God, like I need to extend the life of my membrane. And so I'll do anything to do that, including, losing half an hour of your life every 8 hours of work, right? Because you've got to do this flush system process. But from my side, we made the reverse osmosis membranes with normal margins on it so that we make a normal profit, and so they're affordable. And then even in the event that you had some reduced performance from your reverse osmosis membrane, it's like $280, $290. It's not a lot of money just to replace them and move forward rather than trying to preserve them, at the expense of your time or at the expense of, process and stuff like that. So there is a right place for a water softener, and that's if you've got really hard water, right? That makes complete sense. And you can, if you don't have to buy a, let's say you took a Flow Red which doesn't have a water softener and you had really hard water. You can get one of our dual DI tanks and you can say, I want to make this a pre-filter for the Flow Red, and you can buy water softening resin, which is a cation resin, put it into the DI tank, and we can give you the handle and you can turn it to flush. And then when you flush it, you're flushing it with salt water. So you're basically flushing it back with salt water, and the salt water reattaches, and the calcium and the magnesium gets flushed out when it's in flush mode, right? So it's kind of like an interchange all the time, calcium, sodium, calcium, sodium, calcium, sodium. You don't have to replace the resin like you do with mixed bed resin, when we're trying to make the water ultra pure, spot free. Right, so you could just as easily buy a system that doesn't have a softener, and you go, I want a softener, right? Well, you don't need to buy a system with a softener. You just add one tank and you put that in front of your system, and it'll do that job. And then you flush that tank, and you can put a much bigger tank, right? So you don't have to flush it as often, right? Because it's got more. The bigger the tank, the more the resin, the more efficacy you've got, and therefore the longer the time between having to flush them and stuff like that. So it's an interesting topic. We have no intentions for adding a water softening system on the wheels of a Flow Red Plus. For the most part, there's very few places in the world that have very high TDS. And for those places, we would recommend a standalone pre-filter that would do that. Or you go to Ionics and buy, the Quattro Pro or something where it's on the trolley, right? So that's a legitimate time to consider to choose an Ionics. And I think that might be all you need to know about this topic. But if you have any questions, ask them in the comments below. And if you like this Q&A, then jump through to Reach It Workshop at futureofcleaning.com youtube.com/Future of Cleaning, and look up the playlist Reach It Workshop. We've got over 90 videos similar to this. They're geeky, they're highly informative, but window cleaning is turning into a higher tech industry, and you would benefit greatly from understanding what's really going on with your water chemistry, because we're dealing with water, what's going on with technique, because that's our efficiency, what goes on with pole rigidity, because that's our accuracy and our precision, which results in efficiency, and efficiency ends up in you making more money. So that's what we're about. We're trying to help you clean windows faster. We know the only way you're going to do that is by being educated. So that's why we make the effort to give you the Reach It workshops. All right, so I'll see you in the next one.